What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman. I got a loaded show for you guys today that includes some pretty interesting stories from the American Spectre. Does Jazz Jennings regret transitioning? Then we got this story here from the Western Journal. Kari Lake scores major legal victory in election challenge in Arizona Supreme Court. And then we got an update on the whole Donald Trump indictment issue. 2018 letter states Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels with his own funds. Trump did not reimburse. But before we get into all that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. All right, let's get into the first story of the day. From the American Spectre, does Jazz Jennings regret transitioning? They tried to make Jazz the example of how amazing gender transition is. All they did was show how bad it is. Let's read. The story of Jazz Jennings, whose parents began their attempts to transition him to female when he was just 5 years old, had a major impact on the acceptance of transgenderism in America. As a child who made TV appearances with Barbara Walters, Jennings was the example par excellence for the perspective that some people innately belong to the opposite gender, an argument that was made more convincing because Jennings' parents had treated him as a girl since early childhood. In recent years, however, Jennings has repeatedly made headlines for health problems that offer counter evidence to the narrative that medicine can seamlessly transition adults or children from one sex to the one they supposedly truly belong to. A botched penile inversion vaginoplasty that Jennings underwent at the age of 17 required multiple corrective surgeries and left him with greatly diminished sexual function. This is what I've been talking about in my this was several weeks ago. I posted a video about this whole gender and trans ideology, and I said something very similar. This is exactly what happened with Jennings. One of Jennings' surgeons, Marcy Bowers, later went public with hesitancy toward the World Professional Association for Gender Health's standards of care for children, arguing that the practice of giving 11-year-olds testosterone blockers and 13-year-olds estrogen treatments has made it impossible for doctors to later perform a traditional penile inversion vaginoplasty on them, as doctors are required to take skin grafts in order to make enough tissue, often leaving patients with poor outcomes. I'd say poor outcomes is saying it lightly. This is exactly what happened with Jennings. His surgery was performed with stomach lining material to make up for the lack of available tissue. Soon after the surgery, his neovagina, as they call it, split apart. 3 corrective surgeries over a period of years were subsequently performed to have to fix this. I think there was naivety on the part of pediatric endocrinologists who were proponents of early puberty blockage, thinking that just this magic can happen, that surgeons can do anything, said Bowers in an interview with Abigail Shrier, the author of Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. But honestly, Bowers continued, I can't sit here and tell you that people who begin transitioning as children have better or even as good results. They're not as functional. I worry about their reproductive rights later. I worry about their sexual health later and ability to find intimacy. I want to show you this video, and I believe this video here portrays very clearly that Jazz is not the one who wanted this. Okay, Jazz is someone who did this, who kind of had this forced upon her at a very young age, and in reality, her parents are just very abusive. Let's watch.
So, are you feeling like you wanted to start talking about? Are you okay?
I'm okay.
I'm going to cry. But
You know I can't get out of my head.
I know. No, listen.
It just doesn't stop.
It's okay. Give me a hug. It's okay. I know what you're going through. We've been there before.
No, it still doesn't stop now. And I'm already going back to negative.
But the more you're talking about yourself, it gets harder. Mm-hmm. You're digging in and it's making you put a magnifying glass on what's already difficult as it is. So this is hard for you. I know. And we don't want to push you
I
anymore.
know I'm the one doing it. Like,
I know you're your own worst enemy.
I feel kind of all over the place and like my mind is very cluttered and not clear.
I want to stop it there real quick. I want to stop it there. The idea that she is her own worst enemy is absolutely insane. She is not her own worst enemy. Her mother is her worst enemy. Her parents are her worst enemy for doing this to her. Also, they could gain points with all the other woke garbage parents at the country club. Jazz, you'll probably never see this video. But if you do, you are not at fault for this. Your mother is at fault. She did this to you. Your parents did this to you. This is not on you. You are not your own worst enemy. Your mother is, and you need to get away from her. You got to get away from these people. Let's continue watching.
And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity. I just want to feel like myself. Like, that's it. I don't
Like
care.
the old Jazz?
All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
All of those.
She doesn't feel like her ever. Now, we got a second video here just showing just how badly this abuse is. I want to show you this one as well.
But with her, I'm worried about like her mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem.
Let me just explain this for just a second. If you were a real woman, you don't have to dilate. Okay? There is no dilation problem that real women have. Okay? This is not a problem that real women have. Okay? So if you were a real woman, you wouldn't have these problems. But no, you were cut up by a surgeon, and now here you are.
That is a concern. When you don't have that watchful eye, they tend to go back to old patterns.
I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will.
But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once
That
a
is
day.
insane.
I will be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. What an absolutely insane mother. I think that this really shows a lot. This right here, these two videos and this story right here specifically shows that this is not what these kids want. This is not what these children want. This girl, this boy, I apologize, was forced into this life at a very young age by her parents. And now her mother is waking him up in the middle of the night and telling him to force something into his body or she will do it herself. For all of you who may not be aware, that's called rape. Yeah, that is called rape. And it's a crime that you go to prison for. Maybe she should join the prisoners somewhere. That is insane, guys. This is absolutely insane. This trans ideology is getting out of control. This mother is suggesting sexual assault against her child, also that she can keep up the facade that her child has transitioned to another gender. It's not real. It didn't happen. You forced it upon her or upon him. For heaven's sakes, it's freaking impossible at this point. Guys, this is insane. This is getting out of hand. Now, there are several states that are starting to take action against this. I know Tennessee did, Georgia did, I believe Missouri and Nebraska did as well. I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe Texas as well is trying to put through some legislation right now through this legislature to stop this kind of garbage from happening to children. Guys, listen. You want to go mutilate your body as an adult? I can't stop you. Nobody can stop you from doing that. You're a grown adult. Go do it. You live with the consequences. Whatever. I don't necessarily want you to do that because I believe that you're a creation of God, and that that God, that body you have was a gift from Him, and I believe that you should do everything you can to take care of the gift that He gave you. But at the end of the day, I can't stop you. You've got free will. You've got the choice to go and do that. If you want to do that as an adult, that's fine. But you leave these kids out of it. This boy did not get to choose this. Jazz did not get to choose this. It was forced upon him by these disgusting parents. This has got to stop, and I believe we're making headway because there's many states all across the country that are fighting back against this. There's countries all across the world that were doing things like this, and they stopped it because they saw where it was going and how disgusting it was getting. And eventually, I think we are going to win this. Eventually, I feel like this is going to be seen as like the lobotomies of our age. Like we will look back on this 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and people will say, "Wow, they really did that to kids. They really did that to people," because that doesn't work, guys. The main reason that they are the main excuse that they are using to be able to put these transition surgeries not only just onto kids but also onto adults is that if you don't transition them, they will kill themselves. It's a lie. For one, you go back in history and you look at the statistics and the numbers don't match up. Let's go back to the 90s, for example. The 90s weren't exactly good to people who wanted to transition, okay? The suicide rate back then was lower than it is today. Our country today is far more accepting, unfortunately, of this type of transitioning. Yet it hasn't helped the suicide rate. The suicide rate has continued to go up. So no, it has nothing to do with affirming their gender. When someone says cut off my body part or I'll kill myself, you don't cut off their body part. You don't affirm what they want. You put them in a padded cell and watch them so that they don't hurt themselves. Guys, this is getting out of hand, but I think we're going to win because there's states that are coming back, that are coming out and fighting against this and putting a stop to it. I truly believe at the end of the day, we're going to put a stop to this. My only regret is that we're not able to stop it fast enough. But we got to fight on, guys. We got to keep going. We need to be in the streets protesting this stuff, stopping this stuff from happening. We need to be contacting our reps and getting involved in this fight because this has to stop. These kids are being forced into this lifestyle that they didn't choose. They were young. They didn't know what they were doing. This boy was put into this at such a young age. He had no idea what it was like to be a man. He had no idea, and that was taken from him. Now, even if he were to detransition, he would never have the life that he would have had if his parents had not done this to him. It's disgusting, and we're going to stop it. All right, so that's the first story of the day. I got another story coming for you in just a second, but before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think of this, guys, down in the comments, because this is just absolutely insane, man. Follow me on all the socials down in the description and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. All right, for the second story of the day from the Western Journal, Kari Lake scores major legal victory in election challenge in Arizona Supreme Court. This is huge. All right, so a lot of people might look at the Western Journal. That's a right wing news source. Well, I wouldn't usually use a right wing news source on my or a right wing news source in my shows, but the reason why I chose this article is because this article specifically exposes a lot of the deception that the media tried to place on you when it comes to this specific story. So let's read. The establishment media outlets were quick to spin the Arizona Supreme Court's Wednesday decision on Republican Kari Lake's lawsuits, challenging the outcome of the 2022 state gubernatorial race as a near-death blow to her chances of overturning it. From the Arizona Republic, Arizona Supreme Court rejects most of Kari Lake's election challenge. From KNXV TV, Arizona court declines most of Lake's appeal over governor's race. KPNX TV, Arizona court declines most of Kari Lake's appeal over governor's race. Notice that one word in all those headlines, most, according to KPHO TV. On 6 of the 7 counts, the court ruled there were insufficient grounds to overrule the decisions made in trial courts. There was also much crowing about the fact that Lake could face sanctions for alleging that 35,563 unaccounted for ballots were added to the total of ballots at a third-party processing facility. Bram Resnick, a reporter whose beat covers politics democracy for KPNX, the NBC affiliate in Phoenix, made a point of posting that section of the ruling on Twitter. However, most, if not all, no matter how much liberals in the media might want it to be. And the one ruling that went Lake's way was huge, not only for her chances, but for election integrity as a whole. In the ruling, the Supreme Court found that the lower court erred in dismissing a challenge to signature verification procedures in the state's most populous county, Maricopa County. The matter was sent back to a trial court for consideration, and it could grant Lake's team a review of how the signatures were verified. The county and appeals court interpreted Lake's signature-related challenge as applying to politics themselves, not how the policies were applied in 2022, and dismissed her claim based on grounds that she filed her legal challenge too late, the Arizona Republic noted. But that was an error, the Supreme Court said, noting Lake could not have brought this challenge before the election. Lake, who lost by only 17,000 votes, was quick to tout Wednesday's decision as huge, and she also had a warning for those counting her out: "We're just getting started." Now, I want to curb our expectations here, okay? Ultimately, this still has a low chance of having this election overturned, okay? I truly believe that. However, it's a step in the right direction, okay? This is a step in the right direction because it's forcing this lower court to allow Kari Lake's team to look at all of the signature verifications, and we're going to be able to get a look at just how many ballots or just how many ballots that were not filled out correctly, not mailed correctly, and just so you know, if those errors are allowed to stay on the ballot, that's an election violation. Okay, so these ballots should have been thrown out, but. So we want to go through, and she's going to go through with her team, and she's going to look through all these ballots and see which of these ballots was having these election issues, having these problems, having these violations, and still allowed to go through. We're not stopped from going through, not stopped from being counted. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And then we got another major victory. Oh boy. President Donald Trump from the post-millennial, goodness, English is hard apparently today, guys. Breaking 2018 letter states Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels with his own funds. Trump did not reimburse. Oh boy. A 2018 letter from former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen's team to officials at the Federal Election Commission has revealed that the then president was not involved in the payment of alleged hush money to Stormy Daniels. The letter obtained by the Daily Mail stated that it was Cohen who paid Daniels $130,000 out of his own pocket in a private transaction in 2016 before the U.S. presidential election. Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $133,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Cohen's team wrote, neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Miss Clifford, and neither reimbursed Mr. Cohen for the payment directly or indirectly. Cohen's team went on to explain that neither Mr. Cohen nor Essential Consultants LLC made any in-kind contributions to Donald J. Trump for President, Inc., or any other presidential campaign committee, nor was Cohen a government employee at the time. Thus, they argued the payment in question does not constitute a campaign contribution or expenditure, and therefore the FEC lacks jurisdiction over this matter. This is a breaking story and will be updated. Oh boy. So if the case against Donald Trump didn't look weak as it was, it's just about obliterated now. The case against him was actually halted for on Wednesday, the day that I did my last video. It was actually suspended. The court hearings for that day were suspended. And it was put on hold. Alvin Bragg told the grand jury to stay home that day because apparently he was having trouble convincing them that that Donald Trump had even done anything wrong because of this exact letter. Guys, this case against Donald Trump is ridiculous. It is, in my opinion, criminal that they are trying to put their political opponents in prison for things that they did not do, for, no pun intended, but trumped up charges. It's insane. It's insane that this is continuing to happen. But yeah, guys, we got this crazy story here. We got a couple of updates. I will have more coming for you guys on Monday. Leave a like leave a comment in the comment section, share the show with your friends, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. Follow me on all the socials down in the description. Like I said, I'll have another show coming for you guys on Monday. If you guys like my commentary on this, tell me how I did down in the comment section. If you don't like how I did, tell me why. You know, let's talk these things out. Let's debate these things. But yeah, that's gonna be the show for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.